I'm really glad I root for you.
What's up, sports fans? Welcome back to Takes from the Couch. I'm your host, Josh Fry, and today we are going to break down all the trades of this NBA trade deadline that just ended about an hour ago as of this recording. It was definitely a busy trade deadline, a little bit more so than I thought it would have been. I thought some of these trades were going to end up waiting until the offseason, but teams were just jumping at the gun to get rid of their guys as soon as possible, I guess. But yeah, we're going to go through each of these trades one by one. I'm probably not going to go over like the little tiny ones or like this role player got traded for a second round pick. So I'm going to go mainly over the big ones here. I'm going to definitely spend a little bit extra time on the Bucks one as well, just because it's the Bucks, I have to. So, but yeah, let's get into it. Another thing before we fully get started, that I don't know if you guys can hear it. I'm hoping it's not too loud, but there's probably 40-mile-an-hour winds blowing directly against my apartment wall right now. So if you hear whistling or howling of winds, that's why. It's also snowing, so that's beating against the wall too. So sorry if you hear any of that. I'm hoping the background music will drown it out at least a little bit, so it's not super loud and annoying, but what can you do? That's Mother Nature, I guess. So, but yeah, let's get into some of these trades. First trade to get us started off here today is the one that took place between the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Got the handy dandy laptop here, so if you see me looking down, I'm reading off all the moving parts here in each one of these trades because there's a lot of them for some of these. But yeah, for Indiana, they trade away Karis LeVert and a second-round pick to Cleveland in exchange for Ricky Rubio, lottery-protected first-rounder, and 2 future second-round picks. Not a bad haul for Indiana here, all things considered, for Karis LeVert. 2 future seconds as well as a first. I mean, that's pretty much all you could really hope for. Ricky Rubio doesn't sound like he's going to be playing at all there, and honestly, it sounds like he might be headed right back to Cleveland during the offseason, at least if some of the early reports actually are true. But yeah, honestly, Indiana, they didn't really need him anymore. It makes sense that they're offloading some of their guys. They need as many shots at the NBA draft as they can get for their next future star, a couple role players here and there to build their future with. And Cleveland, they need some wing scoring. I talked about this in an immediate breakdown of the trade right after it happened, but Isaac Okoro is not going to be the guy that you can rely on for consistent wing scoring. Colin Sexton's not there right now, and honestly, he might be traded this offseason with the way Darius Garland's looking. But yeah, LeVert definitely provides that scoring and some playmaking from the wing position. And yeah, just a little bit more balance to that offense. Doesn't really make me think any differently of the Cleveland Cavaliers than I did a week ago, but hey, this is a young team and they're trying to make some aggressive moves to win now in the next couple of years, and honestly, I respect it. If you want to be able to keep guys like Darius Garland, Evan Mobley around for the future, you got to prove to them that you're willing to build around them and give them the keys to success. And Cleveland, hopefully they found another one of those in Karis LeVert here. So honestly, not a bad trade either side. I think this is a win-win. Next up on the docket, you got a team that was pretty active throughout the course of this NBA trade deadline, the Portland Trail Blazers. Obviously, their biggest deal of the deadline being they sent CJ McCollum along with Larry Nance Jr. and Tony Snell to New Orleans in exchange for a package including the 2022 first-round New Orleans pick, 2 future second-round picks, Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Tomas Satoransky, who are both no longer on the team. We'll get to that later on. And then Didi Louzada. If I'm being completely honest about this trade, I don't really understand it from either side. Obviously, I understand that the Blazers, they probably wanted to get off CJ at some point here. If I'm being completely honest about this trade, I'm not sure I understand it from either side. First of all, obviously, Blazers fans, sorry about this trade. I'm sure it probably hurts to see CJ McCollum go after nearly a decade of him being a crucial part of that team. I understand the Blazers probably wanted to move off of CJ at some point here. especially if they want to just really shut things down for the 2022 season, try to get their draft pick as high as possible, especially with the recent news with Damian Lillard. And it became clear that CJ McCollum and the Damian Lillard duo just simply wasn't working after that Western Conference Finals appearance. They really weren't able to make any sort of headway. A lot of things had to do with that, including injuries and just some bad luck here and there. But yeah, CJ seemed like he was gone at some point, whether it was this deadline or later in the offseason. But yeah, it feels like they could have gotten more for CJ. 2022 first round pick that might end up being like mid first round, especially if the Pelicans actually get Zion back at some point this season and sort of push for the playoffs here. And then 2 future seconds. I don't know. It just feels like it's not as great a package as it could have been, especially when you consider that both Larry Nance and Tony Snell were in this deal as well. I know Snell probably hasn't been as great as Portland fans were probably hoping for this year. But, I mean, he's still a solid, decent player. And Larry Nance, he's a good player too. So, feels like you could have gotten a little bit more for CJ here. And then for New Orleans, what are you doing? What are you doing? This makes absolutely no sense considering your timeline here. 21-33, I believe, was their record when they made this trade. And that just really doesn't scream making a move that says win now. And when you're trading for CJ McCollum, that's what you're doing. You're basically committing to a win now deal. And then the trio of Devontae Graham, CJ McCollum, and Brandon Ingram in that backfield really feels like it could bog things down. And then you got to throw in Zion Williamson at some point there as well, if he's actually going to come back at some point this season. That's 4 guys that can go get you a bucket whenever you need to, but it's also 4 guys that really need the ball in order to be effective. And I don't know, it feels like it could muck things up a little bit. And if the win now thing, it makes absolutely no sense to me from New Orleans standpoint. I mean, sure, if the goal is to make the play in this year, then great. I guess you'll accomplish that and you'll go get swept by either Golden State or Phoenix in the first round. But does that really make things any better? And then you're trading away first round picks too. Like, I don't know, man. It's New Orleans, and sure, CJ McCollum's a fun guy to have around on your franchise, and it sounds like he really wants to be in New Orleans. It sounded like that was his place where he wanted to end up if he was going to get dealt. But it feels a little strange at this point in the season for New Orleans to be making a bit of an all-in move, I guess. And then you get to the trade that really just turned heads throughout the entire NBA. I need to take a sip of coffee for this one. The Sacramento Kings and the Indiana Pacers make a deal. Indiana sends Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, and a 2027 second-round pick to the Sacramento Kings for Buddy Hield, Tristan Thompson, and Tyrese freaking Halliburton. Sacramento, what are you doing? I mean, yeah, it's Domantas Sabonis. Again, decent player. I think he's a guy that you can build a future around if you're actually in a position to be able to win some games right now. Sacramento is not that team. And to be getting rid of your very best player, by the way, you still have De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley. No, Marvin Bagley's gone. Sure. Domantas Sabonis, he's a fun player to pair with a couple all-stars here. I mean, De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, they probably could make a pretty good combo here right now. But is that really going to get you over the hump in the Western Conference? No, not at all. Especially when teams like Phoenix, Golden State are still around. And you're, again, a bottom feeder team basically looking to make the play-in at this point. It makes absolutely no sense. It's Tyrese freaking Halliburton, man. I don't understand why you would get rid of Tyrese Halliburton. And then Buddy Hield is a throw-in for this trade. He's not even the centerpiece of a deal that would give Sacramento some draft capital or some solid young players. You get Domantas Sabonis and then 2 bench players. Regardless of what kind of team you have, Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday are bench players. There's no way around that. It makes absolutely no sense to me why this trade was done from Sacramento's standpoint. Indiana, great deal. Tyrese Halliburton is going to be great for you. Miles Turner seems like he's going to be the center of the future in Indiana now. And Buddy Hield, you get him there too. Indiana's starting five all of a sudden looks really interesting moving forward. Yeah, great job, Indiana. Sacramento, again, what are you doing? I do want to mention this next trade here really quick, just because it just backs my point of Portland just really doesn't feel like they got a lot for CJ McCollum here. It's a three-team trade. Portland Trailblazers, San Antonio Spurs, Utah Jazz. Utah lands Juancho Hernangomez, and then Blazers send them Nickeil Alexander-Walker as well. Portland will get Joe Ingles, who's out for the season, along with Elijah Hughes, solid young player, and a second-round pick from Utah. And then the Spurs take on Tomas Satoransky and a second-round pick from the Jazz. Again, another second-round pick is awesome. Elijah Hughes could turn into something, but who knows? But again, it doesn't seem like you got enough for CJ McCollum if this is the trade you make immediately after trading CJ. I don't want to bash on Portland too much here, but yeah, I just wanted to mention this trade quickly to back my previous point up. So there you go. Then you get to my favorite trade of the day, the four-teamer that took place between the Sacramento Kings, Milwaukee Bucks, LA Clippers, and Detroit Pistons. In this trade, the Sacramento Kings get Dante DiVincenzo, Trey Lyles, and Josh Jackson. Milwaukee Bucks get Serge Ibaka, 2 future second-round picks, and cash considerations. And then Clippers, they get Rodney Hood, Semi Ojeleye, and Pistons get Marvin Bagley III. I'm going to obviously talk about this from a Bucks standpoint mostly. First off, Dante DiVincenzo. A little bit bummed that he's gone. I think if things had ended up a little bit differently in terms of him not getting injured last playoffs, I think things could have worked out in Milwaukee potentially. But honestly, this season he's just been a lesser version of what Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton have been able to give the Bucks this year. So it definitely felt like he was gone as soon as this trade deadline started rolling around. And they got exactly what they needed to make this playoff run. Obviously, we don't know the future of Brook Lopez for this season with his back injury. Sounds like he could be back for the playoffs, but we don't know what sort of health he'll actually be when he gets back. So Serge Ibaka is an incredible insurance policy in case Brook Lopez isn't 100%. And if Brook Lopez is healthy for the playoffs, a front court quattro of Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bobby Portis, Serge Ibaka, Brook Lopez. There's nobody going to be scoring in the paint on all those guys. The Bucks are absolutely loaded on defense now, and Serge Ibaka, he's a stretch five. He shoots about 38% from three in the playoffs. It's something that the Bucks really need, especially with Brook Lopez not being there. All the centers that they've had so far really haven't been able to do that. Greg Monroe most recently on his 10-day contract. Also looks like he's going to be gone. But yeah, I think this is a great deal for the Bucks. And the fact that they were able to get 2 future second-round picks out of this, something that they could potentially trade down the line or use to just pick up some potential future role players moving forward. Yeah, great deal for the Bucks. I mean, there might be some people out there that are worried with Ibaka's age, just it not working out, but I mean, similar to the PJ Tucker deal last year, this is as much a good thing that he's on the Bucks roster as it is that he's not on Brooklyn or Philadelphia. Like, Ibaka in the past has been one of the few guys that you can actually throw on Giannis on the defensive side of the ball and he'll actually affect him. So this is just great all around that the Bucks got a backup big that they desperately needed, and 2, the other teams didn't get Serge Ibaka. So I'm in for that. Kings, obviously I wish Dante DiVincenzo the best. I don't know how much success he's going to find in that organization, especially with how things are going right now. Clippers, seems like they were just trying to get off of Ibaka's contract. Rodney Hood and Ojeleye, they're nothing super special here. I mean, Hood, he could potentially provide some bench scoring for you, but Ojeleye has been non-existent for the Bucks all season. Just really happy to see him gone. Pistons, though. Marvin Bagley, that's going to be a fun little piece to throw in there alongside Cade Cunningham moving forward. Yeah, this is a young franchise that's just looking really, really interesting right now. It could be some fast improvements here in the coming years. So honestly, it's just great that the Pistons were able to get in on this deal and honestly snag a really good young star here. So yeah, I think this is a decent trade all around. I'm not sure how great the Kings are doing. Again, not getting any sort of picks for Marvin Bagley seems insane to me, but Dante DiVincenzo is a decent player too. So nothing too critical to say about this deal, but I think the Bucks are big winners here. And then you got the blockbuster trade that seemed like it was about 2 years in the making. Ben Simmons and James Harden finally get traded for one another. Brooklyn sends Harden and Paul Millsap to Philadelphia in exchange for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. Yeah, this one, Daryl Morey finally got what he wanted. James Harden finally got what he wanted. Ben Simmons finally got what he wanted. And we can all finally not have to hear about this every single freaking day. Brooklyn did about as well as they possibly could have, given the situation that James Harden put them in. 2 first-round picks. That's nothing. That's nothing to shake your head about. And then Seth Curry, I think he and Patty Mills is the potential 6th, 7th man for this team. That's a scary duo to have to face in the playoffs. I'm just dreading right now the game they play against the Bucks, where both or either one of them goes like 6 for 8 from 3, because you know what's gonna happen. It's the Milwaukee Bucks and its opponents getting 3-pointers. So yeah, that's definitely scary. And then Philadelphia, James Harden and Joel Embiid are a really intriguing duo, obviously for all the reasons that everybody's talked about for the past weeks, but honestly, at the end of the day, I'm not any more scared of either one of these teams if I'm a Bucks fan than I was before. James Harden is obviously a better shooter than Ben Simmons, and he's not going to be afraid of the moment to take the shots. But does it get Philadelphia over the hump, especially when you no longer have Seth Curry and Andre Drummond there? Take a little bit of a step back in terms of your depth. I don't know. It really doesn't feel like these two teams really changed all that much in terms of how far or they can get in the playoffs or how scared Bucks fans should be of them. Really, all that changes for Brooklyn here for me is Ben Simmons is a really good defender that you can throw at Giannis. And then if you're Milwaukee, though, on the other side, that just means more help that you can send on Kevin Durant on the other side of the ball. So, I mean, you take what you can get either side here. Obviously, the 4 of Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Miami, Milwaukee are the favorites to come out of the East right now, and it would be a shock if anybody else was able to sneak out of the conference. But again, it doesn't really change how I feel about any of these teams moving forward. Good trade. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad we don't have to hear about it every day anymore. So yeah, let's move on. And then the last really big trade of the week, the Dallas Mavericks send Kristaps Porzingis and a 2nd-round pick to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. Honestly, it feels like the Dallas Mavericks got a bit of a steal here. Obviously, you take on that big Davis Bertans contract, and he hasn't really lived up to that at all, or even a tenth of that. But I'm done with Kristaps Porzingis if I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. I feel like that dude, he's decent at a lot of things. Like he can shoot sometimes, but even this year he's shooting like 28% from 3, so he can't even really do that this year. And he's a 7'3" dude that averages like 8 rebounds a game. He's not really physical in the paint. He doesn't do a ton of post scoring. Yeah, he's a dude that's like decent at a lot of things, but not great at any one thing. He's sort of just there. So I feel like Dallas, they definitely win here. You get some more playmaking with Spencer Dinwiddie. I'm a little shocked that nothing happened with Jalen Brunson after this deal went down, because it feels like Brunson, Luka, Dinwiddie, that's a lot of guys in your backcourt that need the ball. Again, similar to what's going on in New Orleans, but the Dallas Mavericks are a lot better, and they should have been making trades to win now. But hey, Dinwiddie, he'll provide some decent playmaking for you. He'll take the pressure off of Luka. So I think Dallas wins this trade. But yeah, that's the trade deadline. Obviously, there were some littler moves here and there that happened as well. But like I said, I don't want to take up multiple hours doing all the little trades that happened too. So yeah, figured I'd cover the big ones and let you guys get on with your day. But yeah, this was an interesting trade deadline. A lot of things happened here that I think will have implications down the road in the playoffs for some of these teams. Some teams get better, some teams got a lot worse. Sacramento, I'm looking at you. But yeah, this was a fun trade deadline. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments. You guys, by the way, the last couple days on this channel have been absolutely ridiculous. I think my NFL draft video is up over 200 views now. Way more than anything I've ever done in the past. So thank you guys for all the support you guys have given me over the past week or so. And you guys keep doing it. I'll keep pumping out content. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you all next time.